Hey, welcome back to another episode of Simple Truth Television. Today is June 15th, 2020. Now, I want to speak about this man, Bobby Lewis, an R&B singer from the early 60s, who passed away on April 28th. But they waited all the way to June 13th to report his death, almost 2 months later. And I kind of know why. It's all because of these numbers that these people operate by. If you guys are new here, what I speak about in this channel is gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, names, and phrases. This code is known as gematria. It's used to pretty much script the careers of these celebrities, and it's also used to ritualistically murder them by the same code that their careers were scripted by. Now ask yourself why would they wait nearly 50 days after this man died to report his death? Why would they do that? He passed away all the way in April. But according to the reports, they said that he died from pneumonia. And it says here that Bobby Lewis, the R&B singer behind Tossin' and Turnin', one of the biggest hits of the early 60s, he died in late April at the age of 95. Late April. And notice when they put out this article on June 13, 2020. But yeah, he died in April. So notice how they emphasize Tossin' and Turnin'. That was his debut album, which came out in 1961. It says here that in 1961, the 1961 hit spent 7 weeks atop Hot 100 and sold over 3 million copies. So his debut album was very successful. It sold 3 million copies. Something that, a lot of people can't do today. But this is his debut album here, titled Tossin' and Turnin'. It had 18 songs. And according to Wikipedia, this album was released on April 30th, 1961. April 30th. Now, that date that this album was released, that was a date with 95 numerology. We can actually do the math together. So 4 for April came out on the 30th of April, and the year was 61. So this album, it came out on a date with 95 numerology. And we're getting the news of this singer dying at the age of 95. And this is how this stuff is done every single time. These celebrities, their deaths are always synced up with their accomplishments. From their music to their albums to anything that they're remembered for. It's always like this. Think about it. This album came out in 1961, and they already had his death scripted out the minute that this album was released. The record label that was behind this man, they already knew that it was going to ritualistically sacrifice him at the age of 95. All the way in 1961. Unbelievable stuff, right? But notice the gematria of the name of the album, Tossin' and Turnin'. It also sums to 95, like his age of death. So the album comes out on a day with 95 numerology. The name of the album sums to 95, and then this man dies at the age of 95. The name of the album also sums to 67, like his surname Lewis. Of course, that's the blood sacrifice number. Human sacrifice also sums to 67. And this singer was born on February 17, 1933. He died on April 28, 2020. But yet, they waited all the way to June 13 to report his death. And of course, he died from pneumonia, according to the reporting. But that's not the case. This man was sacrificed by the code. And the way I can prove that is by showing you guys this. So, from his last birthday to the date of the reporting of his death, June 13th, they waited 118 days after his birthday because that's the number that connects to death. And notice from the day that he really died, from April 28th to the date that they reported his death, they waited 46 days to report his death. 46 days. His name Bobby sums to 46. Of course, Sacrifice sums to 46. And notice his name also sums to 42, that number that we always see stamped on black people throughout history. And think about it, his album came out in 1961, which means that he died 59 years after the release of that album. And they always like to bring those two numbers together, 42 and 59. So the singer with the 42 gematria died 59 years after the release of his album. You know, the N word is 42. Black History Month is in February. The month February sums to 42. The word slavery sums to 42, and so much more. And as for the 59, you know, Negro, Rasta, Slave, Blues, they all sum to 59. February, which is Black History Month, it usually ends on the 59th day of the year. 59 and 42, they always pair those two numbers together when it comes to black people and black history. And, you know, this album that he's remembered for, it was released on April 30th, 1961, according to the reporting, which was 72 days after his birthday that year, all the way to 61. So the album came out 72 days after his birthday, and then this man died on the 72nd day of his age. And of course, his name, Bobby, sums to 72. And something else is interesting about that number 72 is that the day that he died, April 28th, that was a day with 72 numerology. So 4 plus 28, and of course 20 and 20 is 40, right? So another 40 will be 72. These numbers. It's undeniable stuff, you know, and this is what's been going on for a lot of years, you know. This album came out in 1961. 59 years ago. They already had this man's stuff scripted out. And you know, 95 years, it is a complete life. You know, you really can't complain about living to 95. But a lot of people don't make it to 95. A lot of people get ritualistic sacrifice at a very young age. And this is why we have to bring this stuff to light. Because a lot of people die at a young age, you know. Not everybody's as lucky as Bobby Lewis to live 95 years old. And just think about that number 95, right? The reflection of 59. Number stamped below with black people. So rest in peace to Bobby Lewis. I was listening to that song, Tossing and Turning, and it's a very nice song, you know. I definitely recommend it. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And I'll probably be back tomorrow, you know. It's not a lot of news out there today. It's all this racial propaganda that I don't feel like covering anymore. I'm really tired of it. Yeah, it's nothing but I know right now they're focusing on the police and black people. That's the only thing on the news right now, you know. The police and black people. It's sick bastards. But you guys take care, and I'll see you guys next time.